Brian Westbrook back with us. Brian, who you putting your hard-earned cash on in the MVP race? Russ, Mahomes, or Aaron Rodgers?
Well, Jenna, I love what Patrick Mahomes is doing. I love what Russell Wilson is doing. But for me, the answer is obviously Aaron Rodgers. And a big part of that is because I always look at the level of difficulty. And I'll ask you guys a question. Who was it more difficult on? LeBron, when he had Anthony Davis, Kuzma, Rondo, Danny Green, all those guys? Or a guy like Giannis, who only had Chris Middleton? Who was it more difficult on? And I think the answer is Giannis. That's why the NBA voters pick Giannis as the MVP, because the level of difficulty has to be factored into this situation. Remember what the trade talks were right at the trade deadline, and this is important to know. For Russell Wilson, nobody was like, hey, he needs to go add more weapons offensively. Nobody mentioned that. The only talk about the Seahawks was that they need to add weapons on the defensive side of the ball so they don't have to score as much offensively. What about the Kansas City Chiefs? Of course, nobody said that they need to add more weapons on that team. They got an all-star cast and a track team as far as the receivers go. But the talk around the Green Bay Packers was because they only have Davante Adams. We have to find another weapon for Aaron Rodgers. We have to find a way for him to get somebody opposite Davante Adams to help him make plays. The conversation continued, even was started during the draft. Well, why are they drafting a quarterback in the first round? Why are they drafting a running back in the second round? Because they need help on the offense. That's because the difficulty for Aaron Rodgers is much higher than Russell Wilson and is much higher than Patrick Mahomes. And his numbers, the numbers are very, very similar. And Brandon, don't start with me with Russell Wilson, because he's a turnover machine at this point of this season.
Well, that should have been your defense, because your argument, because what you just said just played right into my whole argument. Russell Wilson has the most difficult challenge and job out of anybody in the NFL. And that's including coaches, general managers, the water boys, the physical therapists. That's everyone. Russell Wilson has he's playing with the worst defense in the history of the National Football League. So when you talk about difficulty, that's why Russell Wilson is my MVP. Yes, he's turned the ball over, and yeah, he needs to get back on track. But at the end of the day, when you go back into history, Kurt Warner did the same thing, had 5 multiple turnover games when he won MVP. Brett Favre had 3. Peyton Manning had 2 in Denver. So for me, because of what you just said is the reason why Russell Wilson is the MVP, and he still has a stronghold on this. Patrick Mahomes, great. You're playing awesome. You're even being talked about as going down as one of probably the best football player ever. It's a little bit premature, but people are having a conversation. But you have Andy Reid. You have Eric Bieniemy. You have Travis Kelce. You have 2 number 1 wide receivers. You have 2 running backs. You have a number 6 defense. So, yes, I respect Patrick Mahomes, but you're not in the same position that Russell Wilson is. Now, when you had your MVP campaign, it was similar. You didn't have a really good defense. So for that reason, I have to give it to Russell Wilson.
Brandon, who's the best wide receiver in the NFL?
Oh, DK Metcalf for me.
Who's he play for?
But that doesn't make a point, because both of those quarterbacks have really good wide receivers.
Yeah,
you're just going to talk about one guy on the team?
No. I'm just saying. All I'm saying is Russ ain't doing it with nobodies. He's got the best receiver in the whole league. I think you both make good points. And Brian, to bring it back to because I do think Rodgers has the least supporting cast around him. He doesn't have DK Metcalf, and he doesn't have Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. I don't know if we can still call Sammy Watkins I got it, but he doesn't have. Davante Adams is not DK Metcalf, and I don't think he's Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, and I don't think we can call Sammy Watkins the number 1 receiver in the NFL. Go ahead, Brandon.
No. He's in the discussion. He's in the discussion as one of the best wide receivers. So let's not say that. It's him, DeAndre Hopkins, Julio Jones, and DK Metcalf is right in discussion. You can pick whichever guy you want. So let's not say that Davante Adams is just this slap out there.
Nobody is saying that. But if you were to rank the quarterback's weapons, the Chiefs have the best. The Seahawks have the second best. and the Packers have the 3rd best. So to Brian's point, I understand the argument that Rodgers' degree of difficulty as far as creating offense is higher than Mahomes or Wilson. Also, I get the Giannis comparison, like who is asked to do more. But Giannis didn't just win the MVP because he didn't have Anthony Davis. He won the MVP because he also averaged more points than LeBron, more rebounds than LeBron, and shot a higher percentage than LeBron. Now, that doesn't mean he's actually the better player, but he did have the better season. The problem for Rodgers and Mahomes is the numbers are all right now relatively close, except for the turnovers for Russ are off the charts compared to Rodgers and Mahomes. And the other issue I believe is going to be this. I don't know that Aaron Rodgers is going to be able to sustain this pace, not only statistically, but winning-wise. The Chiefs are going to go 14-2 at worst, and that is going to be a huge feather in the MVP cap of Patrick Mahomes. Right now, I would rank it Mahomes 1, Rodgers 2, Russ 3, because one guy's got 10 turnovers, the other guys have a combined 4. So I think that is a massive difference. It can change, but right now I think Patrick Mahomes is the leader, 25 touchdowns, 1 pick. His team has 1 loss, and of the 3 Wilds, he's the only one who hasn't had a bad game.
Okay, so let me break it down for you. If you like statistics, like oddly Brandon does, Brandon's becoming a big statistical guy, you like Russell Wilson. And if you like level of difficulty, well, I got to climb up the hill for it, like Brian does, you like Aaron Rodgers. And if you like statistics and a little bit of highlights and a little bit of hometown bias, you like Patrick Mahomes. Anybody care about winning games? Is it only old KW just because I'm still hanging on to my Patriots dynasty? Because Big Ben hasn't lost a game, and no one even mentions him. It's like, hey, guys, by the way, it's me, Big Ben. We were 8-8 last year, and now we're 8-0. You know what the big difference was? I shaved my beard, and I'm back on the field. So I think Big Ben, Brian, if you like wins, I'm just so shocked that no one's talking about this guy. Hasn't lost a game. You're like, Chiefs are going to go 14-2. All right, well, what happens if the Steelers go 16-0?
Kevin, I mean, if you're talking about wins and losses, Ben certainly should be in the conversation, but that's not how we judge the MVP race. We're talking about numbers, and Nick brought up some numbers, and we talk about touchdowns, we talk about interception.
Numbers.
And listen, the touchdowns are very, very close. When you talk about 25-24,
Yep.
The Chiefs have obviously played one more game than the Green Bay Packers. And who's to tell? Who's to say that the Packers can't get better? Aaron Rodgers has thrown 3 or more touchdowns in 6 of his 8 games. He could put up better numbers than Patrick Mahomes when you talk about touchdown-wise. And, of course, the numbers yards per game are going to be lower because, again, Patrick Mahomes has a better supporting cast than Aaron Rodgers. So all those things taken into account, all 3 very good players. But when we talk about the best in the game, the MVP, it's obvious. It's Aaron Rodgers.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.